class, so we discussed about the transcription and as well as the genetic code. So before that, so in the previous videos we also discussed about the central dogma. So what is central dogma? Central dogma, so in that mainly, so we study the process of the transcription as well as translation. So transcription occurs in the nucleus in the eukaryotes, and in prokaryotes the transcription occurs in the cytoplasm. Okay, so that is all we are discussed, and in today's topic, so we are going to study about the translation process. Translation. So what is translation? That is already we are discussed at the time of the central dogma. So what is translation? Translation means the formation of a polypeptide. The formation of a polypeptide or the formation of a protein from mRNA. The formation of a protein from the mRNA. So this process we call it as the translation. So here, so we see the polypeptide or the synthesis of a protein. So this process we call it as the translation. Okay, and where does the translation occurs? Where does the translation occurs? So translation occurs. So this is mainly occurs in the cytoplasm. So in the cytoplasm. Okay, both in prokaryotes and as well as in eukaryotes. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes, in both of them the translation process takes place in the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, especially the ribosomes. So especially the ribosomes. So these are the cellular factories for the synthesis of the protein. So which means the protein synthesis mainly occurs in the ribosomes. And where does the ribosomes are present? The ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. So the ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. So that's why the translation process takes place in the cytoplasm. So before we are going to start about the process of translation, so first we have to know the requirements for the translation process. Okay, so that is the requirement. So requirements for translation. So requirements for the translation. So the first requirement, that is the ribosome. The first one, that is the ribosome. Okay, so ribosomes. So ribosomes are, so these are normally present in the cytoplasm. So present in the cytoplasm, and these are the cellular factories. The cellular factories for the synthesis of proteins. For the synthesis of proteins. So synthesis of the proteins. Okay. So ribosomes, so these are the actual sites for the synthesis of the proteins. For the synthesis of the proteins. Okay. And so mainly the ribosomes are normally consisting of 80 different types of proteins. Ribosomes are mainly containing the 80 different proteins. So mainly these are consisting 80 different proteins. So the ribosomes are consisting of 80 different proteins, and so as well as these are also consisting the rRNAs. These are also consisting the rRNAs. That is the ribosomal RNA. So mainly the ribosomes are consisting rRNAs and 80 different types of proteins. 80 different types of proteins are so present in the ribosomes. And the ribosomes are in prokaryotes and in eukaryotes are different. Okay. So in prokaryotic ribosomes, so in prokaryotes, so the ribosomes are 70S type. So the ribosomes are here 70S type. And these 70S type are so having two subunits. So 70S ribosomes are having two subunits, and those are the larger unit. So larger subunit and the smaller subunit. So the smaller subunit. So here the larger subunit is 50S and smaller one is the 30S. So here larger subunit is 30S and smaller one is the 30S. So prokaryotic ribosomes are 70S type, and these 70S type of ribosomes are having two subunits, and the larger subunit is the 50S type and smaller one is the 30S type ribosome. And so when both these are present in individual, so present in individual, so here these are seems to be in inactive state. So here, so this is the larger subunit, that is the 50S, and so this is the smaller subunit, that is the 30S. Okay. So 50S ribosome and 30S ribosome, when both these are present individually, if both are present individually, these are generally inactive in condition. And so when both are going to be combined, so when both are going to be combined, so when both are combining, so this is generally called as the active state. So this is the active state. So active state, and this is the inactive state. So inactive state. So when the ribosomal subunits are present individually, that state we call it as the inactive state, and when both are combined, so this state is normally active state. And when the ribosome subunits are active, then they are involved in the process of translation. When the ribosomal subunits are active, they are participants in the process of the translation. And at the same time, eukaryotes. So eukaryotes are having the ribosomes, those are 80S type of ribosomes. Eukaryotes are having 80S type ribosomes, and here the larger one. So the larger subunit is 60S and smaller one is 40S. Larger subunit is 60S and smaller subunit is the 40S. Okay, and especially here the prokaryotes. So especially the prokaryotic ribosomes are, so these are normally having the catalytic properties. Ribosomes are generally, they are also having the catalytic property. So they are normally having the catalytic property, and here the enzyme is ribozyme. So ribozyme enzyme, so this is normally code is for the 23S rRNA. So 23S rRNA. So this is the ribozyme. So ribozyme enzyme, which is normally having the catalytic property. Okay. So the ribozyme. So ribozyme enzyme 23S rRNA. Ribosomes are generally having the catalytic property, and the catalyst, that is nothing but the enzyme. The enzyme is the ribozyme. So which is going to be helps in the formation of peptide bond. So helps in the formation of peptide. So peptide bond in between amino acid, between the amino acid. So ribozyme, very important. So you have to remember this 23S rRNA. 23S rRNA. Okay, and so these are also some of the other rRNAs and so other types of proteins. So especially, so here for the joining of these two subunits, generally magnesium cations are required. So for the joining of the ribosomal subunit, so there is the requirement of the Mg2 plus cations. In the presence of Mg2 plus cations, the ribosomal subunits are going to be combined and forms the active state Okay, and so in this ribosomes, the smaller one, so for example, so this is the mRNA strand, so this is the mRNA strand, so mRNA, okay, this is the mRNA strand, so here the 5N, so and this is the third N, so 5N and third N. So for the initiation of the translation process, so first the smaller subunits, which is going to be bind on the mRNA. So this is normally smaller subunit of ribosome. The smaller subunit of ribosome, that is going to be bind on the mRNA. So that is going to be bind on the mRNA, and then later the larger subunits. So the larger subunit that is going to be combines. So here the larger subunit will be having three components. So larger subunit, so this is having the three components or three sides. So that is having the three sides, and the sides are, so this is normally E site, and this is the P site, and this is the A site. So mainly the larger subunit is having the three sites. So E, P and A. So E, P, A sites. So here E means exit site. So E means here exit site, and P means so peptidyl site. So peptidyl site, and A means amino acid site. So amino acid site or amino acid site. So amino acid site. Okay. So each large subunit of the ribosome, that is normally having the three sites E, P, A. E is exit and P means peptidyl site, and A means here amino acid site. So later when the process starts, so we will go and discuss briefly about these sites. Okay. So mainly in the ribosomes, smaller subunit is the 30S, which is going to be bind first on the mRNA strand, and later the larger subunit that is going to be binds. So larger subunit is mainly having the three sites E, P, A. So E for exit, P for peptidyl site, and A for amino acid site. Okay.